Kentucky just wrapped up a legislative session, and they tweaked the heroin laws since they're facing a heroin epidemic. So first is a law that you'd expect. They just passed a law which makes dealers face harsher penalties and more jail time. But then there's this. This is surprising. Quote, the law allows local health departments to create needle exchanges, which means that heroin users can swap used needles and syringes for clean ones for free, minimizing the risks of transmitting infectious diseases. Users who overdose won't be charged with a crime, but will be recommended to treatment services. The law also expands access to naloxone, a rescue drug for counteracting heroin overdose, by taking steps to allow pharmacists to provide the drug to addicts, their family members, and friends without a prescription. A, quote, Good Samaritan clause promises amnesty to people who call emergency responders about an overdose. In the past, that wasn't the case. And here we have a quote. They say, we're coming to help you, work with us, help us to help you to get on the road to recovery and to becoming a productive member of society. That's Steve Beshear, the Democratic governor of Kentucky, who said that. So this, in many ways, is a reversal, and it's now they're moving in the right direction here, man. They're saying, okay, we're still going to be harsh on dealers, but when it comes to the users of heroin and the users of hard drugs, this lock them up and throw away the key bullshit, it doesn't work. It's not helping. It doesn't make any sense. So now they're taking a radically different approach where they say, just face the problem like it's a medical issue. Give these people treatment, actually care about them, do a needle exchange so you stop the transmission of diseases. So as long as, if some people are going to keep doing it, well, you might not as well compound the damage and make it so that they all get diseases on top of it. You might as well make it so that they don't have STDs along with their addiction. So now they're starting to think rationally. And remember, this is a model for success. The article in Mike alludes to the fact that in Ohio, they've done something similar and have seen success. In New York, my state, they've done something similar and they've seen success. If you really want to have a conversation about drug policy and success, of course you have to bring up Portugal. Portugal essentially decriminalized everything. And what happened? The addiction rates plummeted and crime plummeted. Because they looked at the situation and they said, well, this draconian approach is not working, so why don't we try something totally different? Let's go in the opposite direction. And let's, instead of treating these people who do drugs and are addicted like they're criminals, why not treat them like they have a genuine problem, a mental issue that requires treatment and requires care? And then the results have been fantastic. Even drug use overall has dropped now in Portugal since decriminalization. So this is definitely a good step in the right direction, but you guys know me, man. I would have gone a step further. I love the idea of having treatment clinics available to people if they have an addiction problem, but of course I'm of the belief that you should have all drugs illegal, not even just decriminalized, legalized. And by the way, when that happens, what's the result going to be? People are not going to use the crazy, crocodile drugs or crystal meth. Why? Because those are specifically more dangerous because they're illegal and because they're underground. It's cut with all types of disgusting shit, diesel fuel and nail polish remover and all this nonsense. That's why people who smoke crystal meth lose their fucking teeth, and people who do crocodile, their skin melts off, because the chemical stew that they use in making it is horrible for the human body. If you legalize it, I know this is counterintuitive, guys, but stick with me here. If you legalize it, tax it, and regulate it, the regulation part allows the government to say, all right, so you can make an amphetamine-like product, but the amphetamine-like product can't have this, or this chemical because this causes extra damage. We're not going to allow you to have that. And you could look at it more objectively and say, okay, you can have this percentage of the active ingredient that gets you high in that kind of drug, and in this one you could have this percentage of it. And also, remember, the heroin addiction came to Kentucky in the first place. Why? Because the federal government, in their infinite wisdom, decided to crack down on pain pills. So instead of these guys popping pain pills and getting a much lower dose of opiates in their body, they were like, fuck it, let's go to the harder product, go to heroin, because that's all that's available now in terms of an opiate, and we'll just inject the heroin. And then what happens? They're taking much larger doses, and many more of them are getting addicted, and there's many more overdoses. Pain pills, I'm not advocating for them here, but would you rather have a system where you have lower doses of opiates because it's pills as opposed to the pure product of heroin? Yes, absolutely. I mean, what makes more sense? How is somebody going to be more productive if they're popping 10 Vicodin a day or if they're fucking injecting heroin all day? Obviously, the person on Vicodin can function easier because it's a dosing issue. And I get it. There's liver issues with the acetaminophen and Percocet and all those other things. I get that. But that's a separate issue, and they can address that problem as well if you were to legalize, tax, and regulate. So what we're learning here, at least Kentucky's starting to go down the right path here, but we need to learn this lesson on a federal level, and we need to at least decriminalize everything, but really just legalize everything. And whenever anybody has addiction, treat it like a medical issue. And remember, 80 to 90% of all drug users are moderate drug users, and they can live a normal life and recreationally take substance X, whatever substance, you name it. So it's good also to keep things in perspective about addiction when you talk about substances, because the fear of being addicted in that classic way, the fear-mongering way, is much more rare than you think it is.